Hello, everyone, and welcome to the How to Bet podcast, howtobet.com, our How to Bet podcast, where we're going to tell you how to bet, where to bet it, and who to bet on. I'm Daryl Sean, along with Sean the Genius Miller. And remember, you watching us on YouTube, go down to that subscribe button and hit it. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, the notification bell, then go down a little further for your comments. We'll leave comments, whether they're good or bad, and then ask for merch. We're giving out merch. We're sending out merch this week to Silver Crush 5, Jay Heath, Sam Wilson, and Aline. I know I can't get your name right, but Lamarena. I'm going to keep trying. I know he's a New Jersey guy.
Yeah, he said he's going to, if we ever do a show, if we ever go up to Emmett's hotel and stuff, he'll be there in person.
Remote.
So
right.
He'll be there in person.
And then he can tell me exactly how to say his name.
That's right.
And then a little further down in the description box, that's where you're going to find the links to Sean the Genius Miller's previews, and they are important, especially the part where you're going to see updated odds and updated injury reports, and of course, exclusive offers from various different sports books around the world. But yes, you want to go there and go there early and often because they are changing in the NFL rapidly, and you need to know those updated injury reports and odds. So now, Sean Miller, it is time for our over-under segments. I've been pretty good this year with these. Not so much last week, but you did well.
Yeah.
So
just overs. Mine's overs.
Yeah,
I don't mess with the
over.
unders.
I go over and under, but you are always over.
Yeah.
Sean. So this segment will be called, on Sean's half, Sean's overs of the week for Week 12. Fire away, Sean.
Tampa Indy over 52. I think this goes over in the first half. I'm telling you, like.
Wow.
I really there's a couple. Like the overs in this game, the team total overs, and all this stuff that you should be looking at as well. Indy, I think I started talking about them in like week 5, week 6 when they were like 1-4. I'm like, man, if they could just get going, and now it's like they're coming on, they could train. This is a tough game for Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay's could be in trouble in this game. Indy runs the ball, and Jonathan Taylor's a monster, man. He's a big time player. Yeah. I got to see him, by the way. He ran track in New Jersey, so he was the 2-time 100 and 200 meter champion. And he's fast. Like he could have been in the Olympics.
It's faster than Henry. He's not quite as powerful, but he's
a different kind of runner. And he showed what he could do. 185 yards and 5 touchdowns last game. I think this is a game both teams maybe in the 30s. I like the Colts a lot. I don't know if they could stop people when they stopped the Bills, but once again, I don't think they're that good.
So you're going to go over 52 in this one.
I think easily. I think it's
early.
28-24 is like the minimum this game is, which pushes. So I think this game is up in the 30s. I think maybe one of the teams go back and forth. I mean, this is the kind of game Brady loves to play in. So one of the teams maybe score in the 40s.
All right, so over a 52 in the Tampa Indy game.
Yeah, the second game.
That is, yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was saying early on, and on the radio show I do, early on, I was saying, Indianapolis, why are you not giving the ball why are you not using Jonathan Taylor correctly? And finally, they have been. And
they lost a lot of close games early in the season. I mean, they're 6-5, and really, if they won 1 or 2 of those games, 7-4, 8-3 at this point, and you're talking about them like, hey man, this team could be the best team in the AFC. So I think they're going to be a dangerous team going into the playoffs. You see teams like that, Kansas City, starting to get hot like now, heading into the playoffs. And obviously now down the stretch, every game is must win because, home advantage and divisions and all this stuff. So, if these teams can stay hot, I think they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs. The second game, I take the Eagles, Giants over 46, mostly because of the Eagles. I think the Eagles offense –
they've been playing well.
Yeah, you know what? They've figured it out, I think, and I think you're going to get probably 35 of the 46 from the Eagles here. Just seeing if the Giants could even score any points. I mean, I think the Eagles defense has allowed some points, so I think this game goes over. I think it's maybe like a 31-21 kind of game, something like that.
All right, now your third over.
I flip-flopped about this. I know we have the same game. Buffalo, New Orleans over 47. I think you're going to see a response from Buffalo, if they're not the frauds that I think they are. And I think New Orleans can score some points. Obviously scored some points late against the Eagles. You just have 47. Once again, 24-23 is a push. So I just think this game is in the, high 20s to low 30s for one of the teams, which pushes it over.
All right, so over 47 in Buffalo, New Orleans. So Sean's over-unders for the week, Tampa and Indy over 52. The Eagles and Giants over 46, and the Bills Saints over 47. For my over-unders, I will go to Tennessee and New England. I will go under 44.5. New England's defense playing very well. Tennessee's offense is so beat up that I don't think they're going to find the end zone often. I think their defense is good enough to hold New England down a bit, so I will go under 44.5 in that. I do like New England to win the game. Rams at Green Bay, I will go over 50. I think this is your typical shootout. I know Rodgers' toe was bothering him. He was not the reason the Packers lost last week. Also, I expect the running game to get a little boost shot in the arm next week as well. So I am going to go over 50 in the Rams Green Bay game. And then you went over Buffalo, over 47 Buffalo, New Orleans. I'm going under. The running game for Buffalo is non-existent. That is hurting them in so many different ways. Their offense struggling because of it. Their defense not as good as we thought. Certainly not as good as it was early on. New Orleans offense struggling mightily. Quarterback situation is a big issue. I'll go under the 47 in that one. So my over-unders, Tennessee and New England under 44.5. The Rams, Packers over 50, and Buffalo, New Orleans under 47. And they are our over-unders for week 12. Now it's time for our best college games of the week. Before we get into it, let me remind you, we want to thank you, first of all, for watching and listening to us. We know you have a lot of options out there, so we do appreciate you watching us on our How to Bet podcast. You can go to howtobet.com. Please hit that subscribe button. You YouTubers, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, notification bell, go down, see the links, click them on, and see the previews to Sean the Genius Miller's previews to the games, his updated odds, updated injury report, and then exclusive offers to sports books around the world. We appreciate you doing that. And of course, again, bet with your head, not with your heart. Don't go over your means. Stay within those means. And if you need help, if you think you need help, there's help out there, including 1-800-GAMBLER. And we do appreciate, again, you watching and listening to us on our podcast. So now it's time for our college games of the week. We will start off in the Big Ten, as we seem to be every week, Sean, and I'll go first. Maybe I didn't learn my lesson here from last week because I took I went against Ohio State, took Michigan State, and that was unbelievable to me. I mean, I'm not shocked that Ohio State won the game. I'm not even shocked they covered, even though I had Michigan State last week. I am shocked at the way that game went down. It was over. It was over right after the national anthem was played.
I loved Michigan State team total under in that game. Like that was my bet of the weekend. I just thought they were gonna. Ohio State's defense is legit. They're number one in the country. They're better than Georgia on the numbers.
I mean, it is a great defense, and they're playing against a very, very good defense as well. Yes. I might be getting suckered in again, but I'm going to take Michigan plus the 7.5 at home. This again at the Big House. This is at Michigan plus 7.5 against Ohio State in a big rivalry game here. I'm just going with Michigan here. I'm not saying they win the game, but I think the 7.5 is enough to make me a winner.
You know what Harbaugh's record is against Ohio State?
It's terrible.
Never beat him.
He is having his best year.
Michigan never wins these big games, man.
I understand, and I only need them to play it close.
I don't think it's close.
You're leaning the other way.
No, I'm not leaning. I'm all. I think Ohio State. I love Ohio State, man. This team's defense is really, really good. I mean, I think it's no coincidence that Georgia, Ohio State are 1-2 in the AP poll right now with the defense. Could be a preview I think if Ohio State, Ohio State has no margin of error, either does Michigan. But, I just think Ohio State's a better team. I'm going to take Ohio State. The defense is so good. And obviously the quarterback is unbelievable. If the defenses are the same, I mean, they say they kind of counteract each other, then, I'll go with the quarterback because he's 1-2 in the Heisman right now. So
yeah, he had a hell of a week last week. Let's go to the SEC. Alabama minus 19.5 at Auburn in a rivalry game. You go first in this one.
I'm just gonna go with the same kind of thing. I know it's a lot of points, but and Alabama struggled a little bit against Arkansas last week. I just think Alabama knows they're this close to getting into that. They're already in. I mean, but just getting into the playoffs.
Or they're this close of getting bounced out.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's interesting. What happens if Alabama loses this game and then beats Georgia? I'm going to go Alabama here. I just think they're the better
Alabama
team, and
minus 19.5.
Yeah,
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go the other way only because I'm sick of taking Alabama and watching that really mediocre defense give up points. Alabama wins the game, but 19.5 to Auburn at Auburn's too much, in my opinion. I know it's not a great Auburn team, but it wasn't a great Arkansas team last week.
Yeah.
Alabama wins, but does not cover. I will take Auburn plus the 19.5. Let's go back to the Big Ten in a pick'em game at Michigan State. I will go first on this one. It's Michigan State a pick'em against Penn State. Listen, I know Michigan State has to be, out of their minds after losing like that last week. But I believe in Mel Tucker. I think he gets his team ready to win this game, and that's all they have to do, win this game at home against Penn State. I will take Michigan State, two teams that are out of it. Michigan State just out of it now. Penn State has been out of it for a while now. I think Mel Tucker gets his team ready, and Michigan State wins at home against Penn State.
I go the other way. I think that was just they got blown out. I think they're in trouble. I think
so
Penn
you
State
think mentally tough to recover.
Yeah, I think so. And Penn State, hopefully they're a little bit healthier here. But I don't know. I think it's a tough game for both teams. But I'll go Penn State just because the way they lost. Michigan State now they're out of it.
Understandable. And then how about a big game at Oklahoma State?
Massive
Oklahoma
game.
State
Bedlam.
Cowboys, a massive game. Oklahoma State -3 at home against the rival Oklahoma Sooners. Who do you like in this one?
Well, I'm going to go Oklahoma State because of the defense. This team is just absolutely crushing teams defensively. 55-3 against Kansas, who just beat Texas. West Virginia 24-3. TCU 63-17, and those 17 points came late. 23-0 against Texas Tech. This team is very good defensively, one of the top teams. And I think Oklahoma State gets it done, gets into that playoff game, and they're one of these teams that is going to be around for this playoff, depending on how their stuff goes here.
Yeah, and I'm agreeing with you. Oklahoma State very good defensively. I think they win this game and stay relevant in this top four. So a huge game for them, and I do like Oklahoma State in this one. -3.
Daryl, who right now, looking at the landscape, obviously it's impossible, but who would be your four teams in the playoff? Who are you projecting are the four teams in the playoff?
Well, Georgia and Ohio State are locks.
But as long as Ohio State wins out, right?
Yeah.
Georgia, either way, they're getting in. If they're going to be the 1 seed or the 4 seed, yeah, right.
Yeah, Georgia's a lock. I shouldn't have said Ohio State's a lock, but if they win out, I do believe they will. And then if Alabama, as long as they win out, I mean,
if Alabama loses to Georgia, are they in or out?
I think they're out, but I think the committee will do everything possible to figure out a way to keep them in. But I think
can you keep Alabama in with 2 losses if Cincinnati has no losses, Notre Dame has 1 loss, and Oklahoma State has 1 loss?
Yeah.
Can you keep
them
in?
The way I feel, I could be absolutely wrong, and they would just bump them out.
do you think they could? if all those teams are unbeaten and Notre Dame has one loss and if Notre Dame runs the table and Oklahoma State runs the table and Cincinnati has no losses,
I think there would be picketing outside the
you can't.
offices. Yes,
there'd be
So,
they got to get 16 teams in the playoffs.
And I don't think Alabama's running. I think Alabama will have 2 losses by the time this season is over.
I want to see Cincinnati in, and I know they'll probably get annihilated by Georgia, but at some point, man, you gotta they beat Notre Dame. They went out, they beat Notre Dame, they went unbeaten, and if you leave them out, this whole system is just broken because
if you leave them out, just come up with 2 different college divisions. One for the powerhouse conferences, which would leave the others out. So
I want to see them play. I think the quarterback is good. I think they're a good team. They responded to get really well. Notre Dame obviously is really playing really well, and Oklahoma State, if they went out, I mean they should be in at 13-1 or whatever it is.
I agree. This Oklahoma State game is gigantic for them this week. I think if they win this, they're on their way. So but we'll wait and see. So there is a lot of exciting football still ahead in college football. We want to thank our producer, Trey Wright, our executive director, Tiffany Hartman. He's Sean Miller. I'm Daryl Fine. I'll be back in the studio next week. He'll be out in jolly old England, but we'll have it back with you again on How to Bet. Go to howtobet.com. We'll see you next